Hi beautiful soul. In this video I want to talk about feeling empty inside. So if you've ever felt like something's missing in your life or something feels off, something feels empty, then you're definitely not alone. This is something that I have experienced myself even recently. And so today I want to talk about why we feel empty and also, more importantly, what actually has helped me. So, why do we feel empty? This feeling creeps in for a few reasons. So, the first one is a disconnection from purpose. So, this is when we feel unsure about our direction or when our goals just don't seem meaningful anymore, and that can definitely leave a void. The second one is emotional overload or suppression. So sometimes we push our emotions aside for a really long time instead of feeling them. And I've definitely done this myself. When you're working super hard on work projects or studying, for example, sometimes just getting through and finishing what's required does require a bit of emotional suppression. And for me, I just never made space to feel those emotions and basically ended up feeling numb. So the next one is a lack of deep connection. So as human beings, it's essential that we feel connected to other people, that we feel seen and understood and loved and supported and connected. And if we're having surface level, superficial interactions most of the time, that's just, in my opinion, not going to cut it. Like, we need real and meaningful and deep connections and relationships. So these are people that we can talk to about deeper things and who get us and who understand us. And so if that's not happening, that can lead to emptiness as well. The next one I wanted to mention is having a routine without incorporating joy. So in today's modern age where we're biohacking and maximizing, our days as best as possible to achieve our goals and things like that. And that can be really effective in achieving our goals, but it can also kind of plan the fun out of our life. And this is something I have definitely fallen into the trap of as well, just like having such a singular focus and having blinders on that, I didn't incorporate things that were fun or playful or brought me joy because I didn't think that that would be a productive use of my time. And that can really lead to feeling just hollow and empty in life, because life is also fun and it should be enjoyed, and it's just kind of boring if we're not experiencing joy. The next one is burnout and exhaustion. So when you're mentally and emotionally drained, it's really hard to feel anything, particularly anything good, and definitely results in feeling empty. And I've just recovered from burnout, so I pretty much haven't worked for almost a whole year, just pouring all of my energy, time, just all of my resources back into myself to recover from that. And the final one I wanted to talk about, and something I experienced recently, is unrealistic expectations and comparisons. So what I'm talking about here is that pressure to be at a certain place in life by a certain age. It's societal expectations that we've taken upon ourselves. It's things that don't necessarily align with what we're wanting or where we're at in life. But yeah, for whatever reason, we've just placed these comparison upon ourselves. So for me, I'm 38, I'm turning 39. A number of my friends are embarking on motherhood right now, whether they're partnered or not. That's really important for them. And for me, like, I was feeling kind of empty, wondering if I'm on the right track. So I have taken a bit of an unconventional path in life. I've followed my joy and my bliss and my excitement and prioritized personal growth, growing my career, accumulating knowledge, both formal, qualifications and more informal learning, understanding the world around me, traveling, experiencing other cultures. Like, having a rich life has been very important to me. And that hasn't necessarily resulted in settling down. And so this year, because of my age, I am like really kind of wondering, am I on the right track? Is my life empty? Like, having all of these kind of internal dialogues. And I basically came to the realization that I'm just comparing myself to other people's experiences. Like, there's just an expectation that when you get to like your late 30s or 40, that you're going to be at a certain place in your life or meet this societal idea of what you should be. And I just basically refuse to conform to things unless it's something that I want for myself and makes me feel good and is fulfilling for me. And so, but I did fall into that trap, and that did make me feel empty. And I'm going to share what I did about it too. So those are the things that can result in a feeling of emptiness for us. But the good news is that there's definitely things that we can do. And for me, that certainly wasn't a permanent feeling. It's just a sign that something needs some attention. I'm going to share some ways that I found filled the void for me. So the first one is reconnecting with joy. And so that's finding small things that make you happy. So for me, that's things like listening to music every day, hobbies. I love hiking and being in nature, walking my dog, just having fun too. So playing with people, playing with my family, just being silly, things like that, just to laugh and bring more joy into the day and not be as serious. The next thing is to seek meaning and not just a distraction. So instead of numbing ourselves with things like scrolling endlessly, just any kind of behavior that is there to distract. For me, it used to also be binge watching TV shows, just like seasons at a time. But it's really important to do things that are meaningful and engage our mind where we're learning or creating or helping others. And it's not just something that we're doing to distract ourselves. The next one I want to mention is moving your body. So physical movement is so important for a number of reasons, particularly things like releasing endorphins, making you just feel good, being healthy, things like that. So for me, that looks like hiking, yoga. Sometimes I dance in my bedroom in front of the mirror. And these type of things shift our emotional energy and just improve our mood. The next thing is expressing your thoughts and feelings. So this can be solo, like journaling, but it can also include talking to people, talking to a friend or a family member or even a therapist. It can also include like painting or some sort of creative expression to release that emotion instead of bottling things up. And the next one, which I found to be really important, is actually connecting with people who make you feel seen. So in my 20s in particular, I would associate with people who were fun and lovely, and I had a good time on a superficial level. However, it was just that, really superficial. Like, I didn't feel truly seen, truly understood. I felt like I often had to wear a mask and just like fit in and say the right things and do the right things and be perceived in the right way. And that can be really sad, and it did make me feel very empty. And so connecting with people who you can have deep conversations with, who you can laugh with and be silly with and just be your authentic self with is like super important. So it's pretty much a requirement for me now. Like, if I can't be real with you, if you're not accepting me for my quirky, unique self, then we're just like not aligned. You're just not for me. I know that sounds kind of harsh, but it's actually not, because when you're super authentic, the world and the universe magically brings you other authentic people that resonate with you. It's bizarre. Like, I did a super big clean out of like just relationships and situations and friends and everything last year, and there was kind of like a gap, like a bit of a void of, okay, like I've let go of these things, but the new things haven't come in yet. And I found like this year the universe is just connecting me with people and things and connections that are just like way more fulfilling and yeah, feel good, feels great. The next thing I want to talk about is changing your environment. So a literal change of scenery can be really beneficial. This works for me pretty much every time. Like, if I'm ever feeling empty or just like kind of stuck or lost, or like I don't know what to do next, like traveling, getting out of my city, getting into nature is really beneficial. And I'm into multi-day hiking and camping and things like that. So even like driving a couple of hours away, going for an overnight hike in the bush, going for a swim, just hanging out in nature, I found to be really effective at getting me out of whatever I'm feeling stuck in and showing me objectively the situation, like giving me a different perspective. Because when you're in things, like right in them, it can be really hard to be objective. Like, you just feel like you're lost and you're kind of like pulled into it. Yeah, I think getting out of your own town for a bit is really beneficial. And finally, exploring new challenges. So we get stuck in our comfort zones, like we don't want to feel uncomfortable. But for us to grow and evolve and to experience life, change is necessary. It's really important to break out of that sometimes. If you've been doing the same things and not growing and evolving and stagnating, that results in emptiness. And so having a creative project, a physical challenge, something new can really ignite our sense of purpose in the world and help kind of shift out of that feeling of emptiness. So I mentioned earlier that recently I was experiencing a bit of emptiness about kind of where I'm at for my age. I'm kind of unconventional. Am I happy with that still? My friends are, embarking on these journeys of like motherhood and things like that. And that is definitely something that people my age should be thinking about. And I'm comfortable with where I'm at, but I did have this expectation on my age, which is a societal expectation of like what things should look like. And the way I broke out of that was I went on a multi-day hike, which was like in another state. And that experience completely shifted the emptiness. It removed it. It was gone by day 2. Because of all those things that we mentioned. It was meeting my needs when it came to connection and connecting with people, moving my body, being in nature, having a purpose of getting from point A to point B every day, being in the sun, laughing, being in the present moment. Like, all of these things were happening. And so by the second day on this multi-day hike, which ended up being 4 days, I was good again. Like, I felt great, nothing was worrying me, and it completely recalibrated my nervous system and reset everything, and made me realize that life is a journey and there's no rush, and we all start at different starting points, and we get to create our own life. And the most important thing is that we're being true to ourselves, and what we're doing is actually fulfilling for us. So just to know, we're always moving, growing, changing, even when we don't realize it. And it's important to check in with ourselves. If we're feeling empty, take proactive action to kind of address those things. And I'm an example of that. That is totally possible for you too. And if hiking's not your thing, there's plenty of other activities that you can do, whether it be outdoors or yoga or meditation or art or volunteering in community work, which is really important too, and I would encourage that. So if you're feeling empty, I really hope this has helped. The key isn't like you have to figure everything out. It's just about bringing more joy and purpose and connection and presence into your life, and trying something new and changing your environment potentially as well. So I'd encourage you to push yourself, and yeah, I hope this has helped. I love you. Bye.